Okay. What should we start with? What do you want to go straight to the meeting?
I have no opinion. I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy to see you here. Tapasya, what you want?
I'm still thinking. It's just there is if you know, there is a Facebook group called Midwives Anonymous, and so today I read a few posts. Those were like they're it's a kind of open war of licensed midwives against, they're making so many comments about who are these birth keepers, and they why are they so reckless, and what do you do with women who don't want testing, and oh my god, so many things. And on the other hand, I just go to the farm. I visited yesterday. The mom and the baby, they're fine and everything is fine. And I'm thinking, what, there is so much distance between these two worlds, where on the one side, people are fiercely debating licensing, and people need testing, and otherwise I won't take them as clients. And there are women who just don't need anybody. So it's kind of funny what was going on in my mind. I was thinking,
think of it as a love affair, right? You've got your perfect lover out there somewhere, right? But one type of, I tell you what, there's a huge difference between an Australian and an Indian male, right? There's all kinds of men around the world. Then you've got the Germans, and then you got the Latinos, and then you got this person and that. There's all kinds of flavors out there. And there's a flavor for every person. So, you do have these. It is unfortunate that history and the history of institutionalizing birth, and frankly, as we can see in the present day, institutionalizing health in such a foreign. Oh, why every time I start this, you start carrying on? There's no food today. Go away. I have nothing. I'm actually out of it. So there, in time, the women have become disempowered. It is there are more and more and more women like us, and there are, and there will be. These people will grow, I promise. As long as we keep doing what we do, like magnets, we will attract the right people. And it's kind of giving birth, I guess. We're populating in another way by contact, so as you just yesterday I was with a group of women, and one of the women just brought up, I didn't bring it up, they brought it up, and I'm talking these women were 70, and the youngest one I think was 40. But really 60 was the age. And they brought up out of the blue, oh, I wish you were my mother's midwife, that this is what happened. And she was talking about retained placenta, that it taken, that after 20 minutes, they were really freaking out. And then they started pummeling, that was in the day, that was the routine, to pummel the mother's stomach. And I think it may still be the routine in India. But in any case, this of course causes trauma. The mother herself became traumatized afterwards. Needless to say, she ended up getting rushed into theater and needed 3 liters of blood because she was hemorrhaged, like you can imagine, so on and so forth. So what I'm sitting there, and they bring up to me, they know who I am and what I do, and they bring up on their own this discussion. And then that word and that message gets spread out. Everywhere I go, there are people seeking support, people seeking support. Don't worry. don't worry about this group. This is so forever. This is always the way. It's always been this stupid argument for stupid people. And we don't care. We don't care, so don't care. And that's how I feel about it, and oh, well, tell you what, see if you can look up online Krishnalolia Devi Dasi and Home Birth Australia. It was published, and in fact, that was the topic. The topic was traditional midwives or lay midwives, a contribution to midwifery, something like this. And I've mentioned this, how I gave this talk. And it did get published, and it's exactly this conversation where I challenge without, it didn't enter, the discussion did not enter the arena. I challenged the discussion. And it was so funny because some of the things and some of the people I mentioned, I'm not by name. I didn't mention them by name, but I mentioned them by story, which made it clear who I was speaking. They knew who they were. And it was funny because I could look out in the audience and see them, and they were looking at me, and I was kind of embarrassed as I was looking at them. With this funny exchange. And the lay midwife at the time, she was a lay midwife, and it was her story how she got challenged, as you're saying, to Prasya, like these women are saying, da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. And I made my point, I made my speech, and they all came up to me one by one afterwards and apologized. I'm so sorry, I didn't. And of course, this is the lecture wherein, as I'm leaving the stage, Marsden Wagner stops me, and another local obstetrician, says, I want to repeat what she just said, So I had great support. Tipasya, were Midwives Anonymous, where are they?
They are all over the world, but it's mainly based in US, and most of them are CNMs and nurses and very, clinical midwives. And one of the comments I read, which disturbed me really, really like deeply, where the midwife said, I don't know what goes on with these women who want to refuse testing and ultrasounds and Dopplers, everything. And once I had a woman who refused everything, and her hemoglobin was low, like below 10, and she started bleeding after the placenta came. And I asked my assistant to take out the Pitocin, and the husband said, we don't want Pitocin. And I just looked at him, and I didn't want to argue. And I said, look at the clock. Your woman will die in 20 minutes if I don't give her Pitocin. And then he let her do the Pitocin shot. And I don't know what she was trying to justify. Like, she's like, if you, yeah.
She's trying to justify her actions, right?
Yeah,
I had this conversation, just a similar conversation the other day with my local doctor, because this is a small town, and I started started a group, which I'm going to stop, but I started a group. So I thought I would talk to him. There's only one doctor in town. And he's aware of who I am and what my position is. And we've spoken before, and he's clearly, like what you just said, these kind of stories. Where he was, tells the story of my grandmother had a hemorrhage, she hemorrhaged, and well, did she die? But she was well, do people hemorrhage in the hospital? Yeah. So anyway, funny, so it's the same kind of thing. And he brings up, what did you say the other day? He had another story of retained placenta or something. And I just laughed after our stories last week. And again, they say these things. Oh, that was the conversation. That's what he said. You know, what can you, his words, what can you do with these people? Oh, some people have rocks in their heads. Wait a minute. If that's how you're going to look at them, you'll never understand them. You know, these midwives going, what did, you know, nanny. Well, did you ask her? Did you actually try to understand her? You know, or did you just, as one word was going in, you know, as she's speaking to you, are you coming up with arguments and not listening to her? And even the story of the bleeding, the Pitocin. Yeah, you know, I bet you she didn't need, anyway, that's neither here nor there, but crap. But this is common, the common fight between one and the other. And I think what you're pointing to is also the denigration of the parents, that they're rocks in their heads. And, you know, no, these people didn't have rocks in the head. And in our area, they were actually flooded in. They couldn't get out anyway. And in this area, it was, you know, we all knew this was coming. And so he just said, well, with a little bit of planning, they could have gone to the, you know, it's a 2-hour drive. And they could have driven to Bundaberg and gotten a motel for a few, you know, for a week or two. And parents, you know, people don't want to do that. You know, so, and then they'd act like, well, parents are stupid. You know, these people are stupid. You know, so yeah, you're always going to have people who are going to look down and speak down on you like you're like idiot children, and that's the words they will use. That's what we're going to have to face. What we do tend to face. Okay, now what? It's hard talking to these, you know, and these pictures. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Thank you.
Sorry, I keep getting this call and I'm trying to, it keeps cutting out my Zoom.
Oh, no.
I'm logging on the computer.
Well, at least you're getting the sounds of home. Hey. So Aisha, how's your weekend?
Hi, Kayla. So my week is good. I actually joined the Gold Midwifery Conference. So I'm actually really liking it.
Okay.
Like, it's really nice information. The first one was about breech water birth.
Yep.
So
Oh,
it was really
nice.
nice. So
What did
I've
you
been
learn
liking
about
it.
that?
Sorry?
What did you learn there?
So it was done by somebody called Barbara. I don't know her full name. So she had explained about how doing water birth is more easier for a breech birth. And they showed a beautiful video. They showed a beautiful video which showed how the baby came out. It was such a beautiful sight to watch. So
Yeah.
it was like really fascinating. So and yesterday we had back-to-back 3 sessions. One session was on teen pregnancy and the care you give for, and surprisingly that was a person from India. This someone called Priyanka from Birth Village. So
okay.
she had done a session on teen pregnancy and how the midwifery care for them is different. The considerations for a teen mom, what are the considerations you should do. It was very nice. It was very sad also because most of these pregnancies were as a result of sexual assault. So that was kind of sad. And there was one on perinatal mental health, how to support the mothers in postpartum mental health.
Oh, nice.
And actually the whole night I was doing this because it's in a different time zone. So it was my night.
Yeah.
So one 7:30, then I had one 9:30, then I had one 11:30. But it was really fascinating. I didn't want to sleep, so I was listening to it. The last one was about the injustice which has been done in the obstetrician
Yep.
justice, the trauma which people go through and how they don't seem to think it is a trauma. So surprisingly, actually, after that, so I have a support group of almost 40 new moms.
Nice.
So in my support group, I'd asked a question to my moms. So how many of you felt like your birth didn't go as planned, or you felt some kind of negativity after birth, or you felt like, oh, you were not treated properly during your birth? Surprisingly, almost 90% of them said that they felt that their birth didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And they felt they were being mistreated. They felt they were not considered as a, person whose opinion mattered.
Yep.
So it was really sad, but I just wanted that conversation to start because I wanted people to start talking about it.
Yep. Yep.
So it was nice. So that's what has been happening on my end. So I'm just trying to understand these things better to support my new moms better.
That's really nice. I really like that. Did you say that was gory?
Sorry,
Where did this come from?
which one?
The course? What was the course?
The Gold Midwifery Conference.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice.
So
Interesting.
actually, I joined because I'm in the lactation field. I joined the lactation conference. Then I saw the midwifery topics and I really loved it. So I said, let me join that also. And so this is the Gold Midwifery Conference, which is going on now.
Okay. Nice.
So
Oh, really?
so much. I have a few nice, interesting sessions.
Fantastic. Sounds very, you sound,
And I'm still
very
new to it, so
powerful.
I'm like in the I'm in the honeymoon phase of it all. So I'm just enjoying it and I'm loving all these discussions. So I'm still fresh. So
Yes.
I'm just loving the discussions.
Oh, where did that come from? Hang on. No problem. No, that sounds fascinating. And you said coalition and Tapasi, doesn't that sound like what we were talking about with the collecting stats about the outcome of births? We were talking about this before.
Exactly. Yeah. I so wanted to do that, but
Yeah. Well, maybe now's the time. Well, you know what? At least there's Aisha. She's already started the process. And if you have those, I think you have the questions, or you could maybe share that story or share the information with Aisha later for that guy in Argentina. What was it
Of
called?
course. I have, yes, I have a questionnaire that you can just take out, fill it up, and start collecting data. It's just been sitting there. So it needs an effort.
Well, there she is.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I would love to pass that along. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's just a questionnaire about obstetric violence. We are
Okay.
trying to gather some statistics on like what percentage of women
Okay.
felt violated or what percentage went through
But
episiotomy
actually, most of the
without
time they don't
consent.
seem to think it is a violence. They seem to think just because it's done in the medical setup, it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So that is kind of sad that they think that this is how it should be.
Yeah. So
What do
just
they
to
s-
put in the voice of the women who go through it, like the
Yeah.
experts will say, yeah, this has to be done. Like every woman will bleed to death. But what are women experiencing in their births? That's what it kind of tries to discover.
Well, there's also other people who are experiencing other things, and I don't think they're blind to it. They do know, my experience in Mayapur and in these, not just the, Lady Immaculate, that's a private hospital, isn't it, Kalindi? That's not government, it's private, right? What is this?
No, I think it is. I think it is government. Very Immaculate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Mary, right? Yeah, Mary, not Lady. Lady
Yeah.
Immaculate, whatever it is.
They don't because they've got something funny where the way they take payment is in form of you buying drugs from them. Like that's how they sell. Like that's, you don't pay for, you pay for the birth itself, but every time you go for a checkup, you have to take their medicine that they give you. And I don't know, I guess that they get some type of, they get a few rupees or whatever, but you don't pay for, you pay for the birth.
Got it.
But you
So
don't
that
pay
may,
for,
but if you
the
pay for the
checkup.
birth, then it's not government, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. What does
I
that
think in
sound like, you
government- I think in
guys?
government you still pay,
Oh, okay, okay.
but it's just cheaper. As opposed to say 50,000 rupees for a C-section, it's 15. And a
Okay.
birth is 6. And as opposed to 30 or something.
Okay, okay. Well, anyway, there, you know, the things that we saw in that hospital, which included women getting slapped, women getting beaten, story of time after time, episiotomies cut without anesthetics and stitched back up without anesthetic. Kalindi has her own stories. And the, you know, so there are some things that are undeniably violent. There, you know, what's the excuse for suturing a woman up without anesthetic? What's the excuse? They were angry at her. They were at the time, they were angry at her. They had slapped her across the face a couple of times. So there's nobody can make up a reason. Well, we had to suture her without anesthetic because
She was being difficult, KL. She was
Yeah.
being difficult.
so exactly. So they punished her. Yeah, so I do have a number of stories just like this that are undeniable. Though I hear what you're saying in terms of, oh, we had to do the cesarean because, you know, but still, it's a start. Hello. Hi, Riti. How are you? How's your week been?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just have to mute
Yeah.
me. What did you think of, could you hear what we were talking about before?
Yes. I came in late. I just joined in few minutes back, and I was able to catch the thread. You were talking about violence in obstetrics and slapping, and yeah, I was listening to all that. Yes.
Isha was talking about she's got a mother's group, and how she had asked them if they were satisfied. And, you know, so she already started making the effort of talking to the women and asking them questions about what they felt about their births. And before we were talking about gathering statistics exactly like this, a question, you know, simple questionnaire of women to ask about this and to start looking at the issue.
Yeah. Right. Yes, it's an issue.
Yeah, so see where we go.
Yeah, I witnessed it in the government hospital,
Mm.
and not even that, even in private setup. So, and one of my very strong reason to leave, to resign from the government job, was that the violence is too much for me to take as a power, as a person who has power. So right now I cannot even go into their shoes and feel how they feel, because it is so overwhelming for me as a doctor who can do it as a power. So yes, but also, you know, it all, but then if you look at the other side of the coin, I feel there is violence for doctors also, like long working hours, and there is very little staff, and you have to manage on your own. As a physician, I had to work as a nurse and as a physician. Like, I would not get any backup Then the toilets were so dirty, I had to hold on my urine for like 8 hours, 12 hours. So if, let's say, I have to leave for home at 8 a.m. and somebody would come in, I would get furious because now I have to go home and use the washroom. So I feel the the standards, even for we used to sleep in the MLC room, that's the medical legal room, where the rape cases come, and then we do their uh, we have to check them and write a report and then seal the report and send it to the like the police officials. We were given a bed in that room to sleep. So let's say there is a rape victim at night, we can't sleep. So we used to get angry on them also. That it's our sleeping time. Why were you not home? And so I think the what I see when I see from a bird eyes view, yeah, what, like, when I see a larger picture, I feel if the and I'm talking of government sectors, I mean government setup in India. I feel if the infrastructure can be upgraded, and if the doctors get uh, a good infrastructure, an organized staff, a place where it's organized, with the lab test, and the clean toilets, a room to rest, clean places to eat from, clean place to sit and work. Like, the place where I used to work was, always smelly because there were so many things around. So I think the environment needs to be healthy and pleasant for both the doctors, the care providers, and the people who come for care. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, my sister's a doctor too, so it's good to get a balanced view always of what's going on, and try to address these needs on everybody's side.
Right. Right.
Then you'll have a better
And
system.
yeah, and we need more physicians in India. India, the population is so much, and we were having 100 mothers in labor at one time. So in a 6-hour duty, I used to have 100 mothers admitted in the labor room, in which 10 or 12 were in active labor.
Yeah.
So, and we were like 6 doctors in the labor room, and 6 were not enough.
Mm, mm, mm.
So, uh, so I used to always question, why are we so understaffed? We need to have minimum, at least, I would say, at least one physician for few beds, rather than 4 6 physicians for so many people in the labor room. And I also feel we need more equipments. We need to upgrade our infrastructure in medical hospitals and colleges here in India.
Mhm.
That's what I can see. And even and we need to also, and compassion needs to be added in the medical schools. I feel from the first year on, I've seen so much of emotional violence, that I have gone through so much of emotional violence, that uh, it is hard to stand up for you and your boundaries, and then the person who's coming to take your care, to come for your support, to use your services. So I feel things need to be compassionate from the get-go. That's what we lack in our medical schools. And then, because we are so brutally we are treated so brutally, that's what we do, that's what we know, and that's what we do. And to come out of that whole spiral, uh, it becomes like a different career like mine. So, you know, it's funny, but uh, I feel the reality is we need to be more hospitable, like learn hospitality, learn compassion, um, be sensitive to our and others' feelings. So yes, but violence in obstetrics is there, and I think if somebody doing the job should do it both ways. Like also talk the physicians. How are you doing? How do you feel? What are your working hours? How do you feel about your job? How much are you getting paid? Because we are underpaid also. Sometimes we don't go get salaries for 3 months because government is on a strike. So like it didn't bother me, but it does bother somebody who's looking for herself all by herself, right? So I think if we are doing violence in obstetrics, I would like to do violence, or maybe I don't know what is it called. I would like to also document doctors.
Care of doctors, doctor
Yeah,
standards, something like
I
this.
mean also staff. I mean healthcare
But
providers, not
actually,
just
step number
physicians.
one to fix that issue in the labor ward is
Hmm.
people should have their babies at home. They should be encouraged to birth at home, not in the hospital, not have this whole push and propaganda that all these women have to come in the hospital. They shouldn't be in the hospital anyway. So, and
I
that's
would
the
like to be.
government's.
I would like to be the. I would like to be in. I would love to. I just feel so powerless. I would like to go in a. I think just because of this, I would like to go, maybe in a on a powerful. I would like to be a politician or go to a powerful. What do you call? Powerful
I know what you
post.
mean. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I know
and
what you
this
mean.
is the first. This is the first thing I would change. I would go. Birthing back at homes. Also make the midwives, like we have dyes. We have beautiful dyes here.
Yeah.
How can we empower them? How can we empower them? Maybe give them a little more professional.
A little more,
I don't know.
instead of the system could be, instead of kind of trying to put people down and stamping them out, go in and support them. So there is,
Correct.
that it's international birth kits, isn't it? Birth Kits International, I think it's called. And they actually give away free birth kits for traditional
Okay.
midwives. You just need to
Kits.
ask.
You mean kits?
Birth kits. It's a kit. So per baby, right? So you could have a birth kit and it has some, equipment and bandages, whatever, I don't know what's in it, but I guess the stuff you want to take to a birth.
Where are they available?
I think they come from the States, but for sure I can get the total information off my daughter, but look for Birth Kits International.
Okay. Because I have found a dye, local dye, and I want to go meet her, and I want to see if she wants to work with me. We have local dyes here. How can we empower them? I mean, I think in
By
and pull
supporting them
back.
and sending them the ladies. Instead, you get healthy women coming to the hospital, send them to the dye. And, like I say, it's only makes sense. Actually, it only makes
Uh-huh.
triple sense with this whole everybody's scared of COVID. So
Hmm.
shouldn't the solution be the sick people go to the hospital, everybody else stay home, right?
Okay.
I would not, I know, makes sense, yeah. But you could, otherwise you're sending healthy women giving birth to healthy children to a war zone. It
So,
doesn't,
the Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani is women. Suraksha is protection. Yojana is a program. So there
okay,
is a women protection program. It's called Janani Suraksha Yojana.
okay,
JSY. So that happened in 2011, where they started promoting hospital births in India, and they formed all these ASHA workers and all, which will get an expecting mother to the hospital in a free ambulance from the government hospital, and they get paid. These ASHA workers, they get paid. So now this scheme, this program, the government started in 2011 in India, all over India. So because of this, and they started recruiting DIs. So DIs get a job at a government hospital where they check BP, they would check blood pressure, they would check weight, they would give iron, calcium supplements, and they would also make an OPD card for them. So very, very detrimental stuff for a DI to do. It's a very of, like a very basic stuff that they are uh, they get uh, paid for, and they get good money for that. So a lot of DIs started joining the government hospital, and in 10 years or so, they would forget their skills of birthing, correct? Like forget as in they'll get slow in that. And on the other hand, government started pushing hospital births, because of which the lot of expecting mothers started going to the hospital, but government did not increase the beds, did not increase staff at the hospital, did not take care of the infrastructure, did not provide enough gloves and enough equipment. So, we are doing the same thing at a larger scale, but with the same equipment. So I think it was violence on both ends. And I feel I strongly feel, I don't know why I'm feeling that since 3-4 years. I feel I need to undo that. Births need to be. So yes, the infant mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate did go down, but at the cost of, I think, emotional abuse. And I did study what Sri Lanka did. Sri Lanka started empowering their midwives, and yeah, and what they did was they equipped their midwives, and they started in Sri Lanka. I think what they did was they empowered and equipped the midwives, so the home births increased, but still the maternal and infant mortality rate got down. I think we just did the opposite. So we have, yes, in the last 10 years, if you see the data of maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate, if you Google it, it has gone down. But the rate of C-section and mental, emotional trauma has gone up.
I'm very interested to hear of your passion. We were trying to get something happening before, and it kind of, okay, it wasn't ready to go. And here all of a sudden, unexpectedly, there's Aisha who just happened to start asking questions. She's shown up and she feels quite passionate about the whole thing. Here you are, you're voicing the same passion and concern, and that you actually want to work, you actually want to do something about it. Tapasya had this connection, and she was quite enthusiastic, but time and family and whatnot gets in the way of your fun. So, but she has the information, quite a bit of information that she could share with you about this guy who started this similar movement, and she's got that questionnaire she'll send to Aisha. Maybe you can look at it and create your own questionnaire if you like, see what, and pass it around the hospitals, see what happens.
I would like to pass it also around the lawyers and legal people who can help us actually, and not the doctors. So actually, KL, I have realized that the hospitals and doctors will not be able to help us, but those who will be able to help us will be the people who have power. people who have power to recruit hospitals and doctors, and people who have power to take out schemes, the programs in India.
Mm.
So like there's a national rural scheme, then there's a national rural health scheme, there is a Janani Suraksha Yojana scheme. So
Right.
they then they are the people, they are the ones who can help us. The
Yeah.
Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I'm almost tempted, I mentioned how we had submitted, made a presentation for Audi Motors. They were offering funding for somebody's program. And we made a submission and they actually chose us. But the politics made it very difficult and they dropped us. But I was thinking, if Audi Motors can do it, maybe Ford Motors can do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's a Hare Krishna devotee, and his wife is, I think she's an obstetrician.
He's a Krishna devotee.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
So
funding.
the
He's
fourth
actually funding that big temple.
in ISKCON.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
bought the temple in Hawaii and he bought the temple here, didn't he? New Govardhan. I think he bought this one too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so see, I have thought of it. My
Mhm.
husband used to work for him, so they knew each other. So I've been tempted to, put something in his lap. If we have something, I'm happy to drop it in his lap.
Right. So last year, I did sign a petition against pregnancy vaccination and COVID vaccination and COVID vaccination to breastfeeding mothers, lactating mothers. So because of that, I have started to know people who are working, who are legal lawyers and who have big names, like who are big names in the world of healthcare, but not allopathic, even though allopathic, but not mainstream doctors. So I am planning to talk to them if I can get enough power to talk about midwifery. Like by midwifery, I mean dyes. By midwifery, I mean local dyes
Okay,
in
far
India,
out.
because there's no professional dyes or a professional dye school. And maybe open up a 1 month, 2 month professional training for them,
This is the
where
way to
we
go.
where we so 1 to 2 months professional training, where we can where I where I do free training, free what do you call, communication, no, what is it called,
Like
yeah, free, yeah, free
community?
no, like they come here and I pay them for coming, commute,
Sponsored.
free
You're
commute,
sponsoring them to,
sponsored, yeah,
okay, you're
sponsoring
sponsoring
them
them
to
to
come.
commute to you. Got it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
free program where you guys come, where one of the professional midwife come,
Yeah.
train
Love
them
that.
for a month. The professional midwife does it not just as a support, but also get paid a little bit, like get sponsored by the government or maybe by us. And then these dyes are equipped with free birth kits, and they are covered legally, where if somebody wants to register their birth, that can happen through a dye also. And make their names available to the people who live around them, like in the same village or maybe the same area, and also to the urban women. So if urban women makes a choice to go with the dye, that urban women also has the choice to locate a dye around. So I feel I don't know how to go about this, but this is what I feel.
I think that's wonderful. And, I also know the Obamas.
Good name.
Yeah, my brother's his best friend. Yeah, we went to school together. I knew him. I knew him as a kid growing up. And if you look up his best friend from high school, you might notice a similarity. And I've mentioned my horrible
Oh.
last name before. It's still there. And it's also a mugshot of him too. But anyway, we'll move past that one. But no, they're good friends. They're best friends.
Mhm.
I can't, anyway, never mind. But he has offered to make a connection with Michelle in any of these projects.
Wow.
I'm very cautious. I don't just throw stuff forward, right? It's kind of, if I'm taking it to the Obamas, number one, the worst hurdle I have to jump is my younger brother. I have to jump that hurdle first. And before I do that, man, I better have it's got to be serious, real, and something I can put on a table. But it is, like I say, that's the inside scoop. I kicked him out of my house. I kicked him.
Oh.
I did. I kicked him and my brother out of my house. I didn't know he was going to be the president. They were punks. They were 15 and they were looking for drugs.
Oh.
Don't worry. He talks about it. It's in his book.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I completely think this is a serious thing. It's, this is serious. I think it's serious for humanity. I think the world needs to know this. I think the women in India need protection. I think the dyes need to be brought out, dusted off, and their knowledge preserved. And what you suggest, this amazing program you're suggesting, this is the good thing. This is a good, solid program. So I'm really happy to work it all out that, we get something, put it on the table, get it in writing.
Yeah.
Get your endorsements.
Yeah.
As much as we can.
So I'm also doing the exemption certificates nowadays. So basically those who do not want to go for a vaccination, we are 3 or 4 doctors in India who are doing like the medical allopathic doctors who are making exemption certificates for those, on the basis of human rights for choice.
Yep.
And also on the basis of if any allergy or, you are not, whatever. I feel it's a human rights issue.
Yeah, totally.
So somebody did call me and told me that, you'll come in the eyes of the government officials and they can call you for a, they can bully, what's the word, they can call you and they can
intimidate,
take an action,
intimidate.
They can take in, yes, they can intimidate me. They also have the power to take the license away from me. And I was like, if this is what it takes, then so be it. We'll fight that also.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
And for any surgery, any medicine, I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise in the back. There's carpenter work going on.
Not too bad.
Any surgery, any medicine, we have the rights as physicians and we have the rights as patients. I'll use the term patients to say no to anything, even the ventilator.
Yes. Yes.
So
This is interesting, Rudy.
yeah.
This is really interesting. I'm very interested to hear you. Yeah. Yeah. You're pretty cool.
I just don't know the way out. I would love to embrace all the dyes here. Believe me, there is one dye like every 5 miles.
Gee, I guess you have a dye feast. A feast for
Uh-huh.
dyes. That's what
I know.
that's what we do. We just kind of keep, making food and come. and
Yeah,
they show
why
up.
not?
If you have food,
They
they
show up.
show up.
So true.
Yeah. No, we can
So
make a
true.
plan. That'd be so wonderful. It'd be a cool
Yes,
thing.
I would love to. Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, I have an idea. How about you think about this more and try to see if you can think of a structured plan between now and March when we have this meeting. And you make a
Mhm.
presentation of what you said
Mhm.
and how you've developed it further. What do you think?
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
So you mean a dye movement? How can we develop a dye movement together? That's what you
Yes.
mean?
Is that what you
Okay,
mean?
got it.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
That's what
Yes,
I
yes.
mean. And that's what
See
I
what
mean.
I mean. Yeah, I mean how can we support, surround, empower, get empowered from a dye around
There you go.
and bring them together. Yeah, and
Yep.
then support them with all the equipments needed, support them with all the professional. See, they need some upgrading. They need to get
Yep.
professionally upgraded
Yep.
to at least know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to do, to at least know when they can take a mother in labor or expecting mother, when they can refer to a hospital. That's all. That's all they need to know.
Hey, and they
Yeah.
can
So
share
if
with
they see,
us. We can learn
yes,
from them too. You
of
never
course,
know.
of course. Yeah.
Especially we keep talking about, and it is again, the some of the jewels of this pandemic is people are realizing, okay, we need to depend more on our local products. More and more people are becoming
Yeah.
suspicious of pharmaceuticals and are turning away from that and looking at, well, what about our traditional medicine? So right there, you've
Correct.
got it. These
Correct.
are some of the people who live and work with these things. What do they take? If you see this, what would you use? What do you do for this? Yeah, it should be a sharing. That'd be a cool thing. So yeah, that would be a great conference, a little, however it's being formulated, but a talk. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yee. So on that note, Tapasya, do you have anything to say? Are you there? Did you go to sleep? Are you making dinner? Are you putting your kids to sleep? They're screaming in the background. You can't hear us at all. Okay.
No, nothing of that sort. I've been listening. I was wanting to class. Yeah, that's a great initiative. Let's see how it looks like in March.
So are dates changing or something?
I don't know, 24, 27.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
What?
thinking of 24th to 27th. I've proposed it so many times, but people are just not responding.
Oh, I'm not responding only because I can't be 100%. Look, number one, I absolutely have no money. I have to do something to get it, and I'm not sure. I'm just have to work things out. It's overseas.
Obama.
It's not here. It's somewhere else. So that yeah, we'll see what happens. And then the other hurdle is the vaccination. So I have been, I haven't taken the vaccination. I'm trying to avoid the vaccination. But You know, so this, I'm dragging my feet, but that's the only reason why I haven't given you a positive yes or no. Number one, I have no money, but I'll let you know when I do. And then all the protocols, I just don't know how to understand them. You know, with the flying and when I can fly and how I can't fly. You know what I mean? But
KL, people have
I think you
taken
will be
the
able to
exemption.
fly.
sorry,
People are taking the exemption certificate, and in US and Canada also, and Dubai. So
to not get vaccinated,
yes, yes.
I'll check. Australia might be the last
Aus-
stick in the mud. They are being,
Australia has a whole thing about a doctor can't give you, like, a doctor can apply to give you an exemption, but the government has to agree, like the government body has to agree to the exemption. It's
Okay.
not really as black and white as a doctor says you can't have it or you don't need it, or and then you've got a piece of paper. It's like, no, then the government, the doctor has to apply to the government. It's a whole trippy thing in
what
Australia.
if I fly as an American? Does that change?
I don't know. I mean, what I understand, and I could be wrong because a lot of people have come into India unvaccinated and
Oh,
vaccinated, and
only
you
vaccinated
have
do
to-
I know, but you
you
know,
have to do a
unvaccinated.
PCR test, and you need to quarantine.
Okay.
KL, you don't need to quarantine in India.
Yeah,
What you do is you get
I would like to say you need to quarantine.
Gotcha.
in India, yeah. So in India, you need an RT-PCR,
Yeah.
a negative RT-PCR, and then
Okay.
when you come here, yeah, when you come here, you don't. I don't think so. You need to quarantine. Would you like me to look more into it?
If you may, that would be great. I do need to know, and I
No,
don't know.
there is no need for quarantine.
Yeah,
Is
there
the-
is no need for quarantining.
Okay, great.
And
great.
and the other thing is, if you are flying from Australia to India, then the exemption certificate I make will be valid because you get one from an Indian physician, no?
But I have to
Yeah.
be in India first, yeah?
I
Can you give
What
it
do you
to me
mean?
here? Well, like for me
I
to
can
go to
I can
India.
email it to you.
Okay, email it to me and I'll see if I can get away with that.
Yeah, so I will. Yeah, so if you can just
Cool.
WhatsApp me your email ID, I'll have few questions, your details, and I will email it to you.
Okay, fantastic. I'll do that.
You can also,
Thank you.
you can also
It
come
will
here
have
for
my
3 months.
signature at my stamp.
Yep, perfect.
You can also
Lovely.
come here for 3
Sorry.
months, pay 15,000 and get vaccinated.
Oh, got it. I have a
Anything is
permanent
possible, yeah.
vaccination card. Wouldn't that be good? Okay, well, that's been great. Let's see what happens with that. So okay, so Depas, you're looking at the end, like the 22nd, you said, or something like this, 23rd, 25th, something like this. But the
24th.
24th. Okay. So many things to do. There's so many things to do. I'll try to get there. No, I really want to. Yeah, I think this is important. It is what I do. It's what I actually do. You know, it's my thing. Anyway, that's all I can say.
I would like to be there a day or two before, and if KL, you can come earlier. Then
Well, if I
we
have to
can-
quarantine, I'd love to
Ha
quarantine.
ha ha. So true.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Hey, are there
So
waves
you-
at Goa? Waves at the ocean. Does the ocean have waves?
It does. I don't know about how will the tides be then in March.
Do people surf?
So it's so funny. I went to Goa last week. We went for
Oh.
a week.
Okay.
I went for 5 days. I couldn't meet Corina. Corina was not well, so she's isolating herself. But I was there for 5 days. But I was with friends. So I just, and my son and his friends. So it was a very tight schedule and everything around the children. So there were waves. There was one beach which had high waves, high tides. Two beaches were slow. The Palolem beach and the Patnam beach were, they didn't have much waves.
Okay.
But the Kaljibad beach, which I went to, had big high waves, and I saw somebody surfing there.
Oh,
But she
cool.
couldn't surf like for a long time because it was like the waves were still
Too
not that
small.
high for
Yeah.
surfing. But she was there surfing. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool.
But it was already hot. It was already very hot there. And I would also propose, bless you. I would also propose if we can stay at the beach because it's so easy to take a shack and stay there compared to not staying at the beach.
Oh, you have no complaint from me. No complaint from me. I will sleep on the beach. Okay.
So March near Asagao. I mean, in March near Asagao, where Corina is, I think there'll be a beach nearby. Tapasya would have more idea as she knows Goa. So I think we can stay at a beach. We can book family rooms, like one or two family rooms, and they'll be cheaper because it's an
Yeah.
off season.
Mm.
We can share, like three people can share one family room, one shack per se.
Perfect.
So we can have four people living in one shack. So we can book like two or three shacks with the family room, like beach facing family rooms. So I think that would be a better idea than not living on the beach, because we'll get free by 5 or 6 or 7. So we can just go
Yep.
spend some time out at the beach.
I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue
Yeah.
with that. No.
And people who know how to ride scooties can rent scooties. Like we all can rent scooties together.
What are
But the
those?
people who know scooty two-wheeler,
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
yeah, bikes,
Yep. Yep.
bike rental, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
So if
sure.
we can rent bikes together, and like
Lovely.
one can drive, one can sit at the back, so we can share that also.
I don't think I'm strong enough to pull somebody. It's been a long time.
Oh,
They were little too. They were only like 2. No, it sounds great. Okay, anything else, ladies, that Tapasya, do you want to cover something? Or Kalindi, you jumped in
I have a
there.
question.
Mm.
It's not about, it's about, my son has 18 teeth and he's 1 and 2 months.
Some of them get that.
That's okay.
it's absolutely okay.
Yeah, it's
Good.
unfortunate.
I don't think it's like, I don't think there's a bad thing, but I was just like, this, he bites me and it
चला
hurts
चला
a lot. And I'm
दादा
like,
कसं करायला तर अनाहत मार देईल मी दगड फेकलेस तर
So what you can do is, my son also started biting me when I was still feeding him, and he was 18, 19, 20 months at that time. You can say stop, and you can remove, like ask, like no feeding for now. And I think I just did it once and he learned. So he just bit me once.
he only bites when he's like mostly asleep, and then he kind of like clamps down and gnaws. So it's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
it's doing it.
I know it was funny. One of my kids, she bit me and it was so instinctive. I didn't think. I just slapped her straight away. I just slapped her in the face. And I didn't think, and I hit her, oh, and she screamed and she never bit me again. And then the next kid that came, I thought, oh, I wonder if I could do that again. And when she bit me, the first time it just happened. And the second time I thought about it and I hesitated and I hit her, but it wasn't good enough. She always bit me. It was the good hard slap that came instinctively. Oh, poor Tapasya, every time you try to speak, you're attacked. I have little midgies. You got these big ones that look alike, but they look good doing their exercises.
So, KL, I missed the meeting last week.
Yep.
Did we cover up the pelvic pelvis? Did we do that last week, or we can do it next
No,
week?
what did we do last week? What did we do? I can't, hang on, let me look. Be there any minute now. Oh, men's reactions to birth and
Can you repeat that? Your voice was cracking.
men's reactions to birth. Did you hear that?
Okay. Yes, now I did.
And it says my tricks of
Okay.
postnatal care, which I don't know what that was. No, men's reactions to birth. That was really interesting. And it's for postnatal care. You know, I think that came on because there's a good, healthy discussion of sexuality
Mhm.
after birth, postnatally. So there was a whole thread of topics talking. So I think we were talking about this. Yeah, and that's how, you know, from the sexuality, the men's reaction, that kind of came up early in the discussion. And that was a very interesting line of conversation, and how men felt after they saw what happened.
Like they saw in birth, like they saw the birthing, and what
Yeah,
was
they
the
see the
reaction then?
vagina, they see
Oh,
how
okay.
it all opens and the whole thing,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing. And where one
So
woman's,
I have a
yeah,
question.
Yeah.
Michelle O'Donnell,
yeah,
he said that when the baby is just about to come, so when you see the crowning of the head and when you see the baby, so in that moment, somebody needs to distract the father so that the father doesn't see anything coming out, because that affects the sexual life of the mother and like the husband and wife. I got really disturbed with that, because earlier I used to make father see everything, but now I got so disturbed, it's like a battle in my head, and I don't know what to do, and I get so confused. And then I ask the father to sometimes stand seeing the head of the mother, like, just be on the head face side
yeah,
and not on the bottom side.
yep.
But it disturbs me, and it distracts me from being present in the moment, because I'm just busy focused on, oh, the head is coming, I can see the head, okay, now distract the father. And I get so distracted myself, and i I really don't know what to do about it.
Okay, well, it was an interesting discussion, and it did appear that some of these men were traumatized. Not all men are, but if men are unprepared, they get traumatized. Now, I'm not really aware of what kind of awareness or education men have about their women's genitalia. Are they aware? Do they look? Do they, I don't, is there this kind of loving exchange? So, for instance, there's many men in the West who do see this, who do see the baby crowning and coming out, and they do not become disturbed by this. They are prepared for the beauty of it, right? For a beautiful event. And so they are not disturbed. And chances are they saw many videos of, babies being born, so they were prepared. Whereas the feedback we got from last week, one story was given of the husband who had to leave, and he had to tell somebody what had happened for him, but like the wife wanted to, can you tell me? No, I cannot tell you this. I need to tell someone. I need to go and talk. So I think preparation is a big thing to help with this. But I'm not 100% clear on what the sexuality is in India. I'm not clear on it, so, which is interesting because I was there for long enough. And that was long enough and enough people. How come I don't know the sexuality? Yeah. I must not know because it's not, I don't know. Someday you guys can help me with that curiosity. Why don't I know? But anyway, that would be, well, of course, part of our discussions have been as of late, preparing parents for birth. What do I do? How do I prepare them? And that's kind of how we got to the discussion of postnatal care. And this is some of the discussion. And so definitely, I would explore this discussion with your men. However, you have to be true to yourself, Riddhi, that I hear what you're saying, that this is, at that point in time, why do you need to, you don't want that other issue entering your plate in front of you, that's already full. So my answer would be to try to prepare them for this. And I'd like to know, again, part of my curiosity or questioning would be, how do men feel? What do they know about birth? What have they seen? Yeah, why don't we ask men the same questions if they're going to be at birth? And I would ask them separately from their wife, it shouldn't be influenced. But I think it could be an interesting thing. Yeah.
All right. Sure.
What do you think of what I said?
Well, some men are prepared.
Meaning, what does that mean?
Again, yeah. So whenever I start something, KL, there are always two set of people. I differentiate. I have to talk about two set of people. One in India, one which are below the low economic status and uneducated. Yeah.
Yep.
Which are like 80-90%, they go to the government hospital.
Yep.
And one set of people who are educated, who are working, even the mother is working. So they are, unfortunately, there are two set of classes, correct?
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
So now when I see people who are, so the people who have worked on preparation, the men are, yes, they are there, they are present. Of course, they feel a little uncomfortable with the blood and with the, with the things around.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are there. They want to be there. But when I talk about the other set of government hospital set of people, no, they don't want to hear anything about the birthing.
Yeah.
They have no participation in the after conception, the act of conception. There is no participation from them whatsoever. whether it's buying food for the mother in expecting mother, or whether it's making food, or whether it's bringing her to the government hospital, or whether it's participation in labor. So they don't, I don't think so. It'll be a positive movement to bring them to the labor room to uh, uh, experience labor, because they have no idea. They are not even, sometimes they are not even available for, they don't, they leave the mother and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we are talking, these are fancy things for a government hospital. These are fancy, this will be a fancy, very, but I remember when one mother came for a time, uh, fifth labor of hers, and she had few abortions. Then I did speak to the husband. I make him sit, and I was like, okay, what do you think? How? So I explained him how labor happens, and how much blood is shed in labor, and then what happens to the mother post. He just kept staring. He just kept looking at me, because because I was like, you need to know the process, buddy. You cannot just leave her here and leave. So that day I got very charged, and I was like, I will explain you everything, and you just better sit here and let's talk about labor. And the head comes out and the body comes out from such a. I was making, so I even showed him the hole, like I was making holes with hands and showing him. So I was trying to tell him, and I remember it wasn't pleasant for him, because it was some
Exactly.
conversation he was not looking forward to. So then I started talking to men about labor and about the bloodshed and about yeah, all this.
Mm.
Just with no agenda, but just to make them aware that this happens. So I now I remember, even talking to them was a challenge. So if they are present in labor, I don't know. I won't. I can't imagine that right now.
Actually, I like what you're saying, because I said this story before about this Aboriginal guy, and he really did not want to be there, and it was against his culture, deeply, deeply against his culture. But the woman had no one for her, so he stepped up. But he was so disturbed that he disappeared the next day for 6 weeks. That's what Aboriginal men will do. It's called walkabout. They'll take off, and he did for 6 weeks. And he he walked from Queensland down, northern New South Wales down to Victoria. That's an awful long walk. And I learned from him, not all men should be at births. So some men can be at births, and they're ready for it. And other people, let's say it's not economics, let's say it's a culture, because it is a culture brought on by economics, by chance. So here's a similar situation where these two fellows get spooked, and I'm using the word spooked or heebie-jeebies. That I'm not meaning like somebody goes, oh my God, what am I looking at? These guys got disturbed deep because they weren't supposed to be there. So, and I think that's fine. Personally, I don't want to, I'm learning more and more not to make rules, but to discover them, I suppose I could say. And in this case, the rule was, oh, you men stay outside. Your job is to keep everybody away. Take the village, take your family away from the windows. That's your job. And you can keep them involved at their capacity where they can cope. Because the feedback from some men are they felt disempowered. They were in shock. They would never look at their women the same. As you say, that it disturbed their sexuality. And for people who who don't have that type of education, who have another suspicious education, let's say, or they're just, no, it's not their business. You know, and for some cultures, giving birth has nothing to do with men. The men have nothing to do with the birthing situation. It's women only. Many cultures practice this. So I just respect that. And you'll save yourself a lot of grief. Keep the guy out. Don't have to educate him. Keep him out. That's where he wants to be. Find a better support for
At
this.
the same
Yep.
at the same time, give them a choice. So actually what I feel, they have not even been given choice to participate in pregnancy or labor.
Fair enough.
So I feel, talk to them, who is open to the idea, or who's open can participate, who's not open, the rule is you be out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
take care of the family around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really a good role. You know, we talked about it before, and we had an idea in earlier discussions that somebody would lead the whole family off to another area and provide them with a feast and maybe some entertainment, and keep them away, far away from the laboring mother, and just keep lavishing upon them, you know, just keep serving them and keeping them distracted. Put on a really long Bollywood movie.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, come up with some creative ideas. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Kale, for your time.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And this can be another topic at the conference. Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I hope you get a peaceful rest
All
of the day,
right.
Tapasya.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Alrighty. See you, Kalindi, wherever you are, but I think you left the house anyway.
Bye. Bye-bye.